Hello, I'm Alexis Lorenz, also known as DataMaven on the Dojo. I'd like to tell you how I solved it with Domo when I needed to schedule updates outside of Domo. This functionality comes in handy when the scheduling options in Domo don't quite meet the needs of a use case. The particular use case we'll be looking at today is running an activity log more frequently than the standard setup allows, which is daily. If you're not already using Domo CLI, you'll need to get that set up first and gain your familiarity with it. I also want to note that when you set up the token for this process, you'll be using the credentials of the user that it's assigned to. And if you're setting this up as anything routine or it's going to be visible by anybody else, you want to be really careful with who sees the token information, as it's effectively a username and password, so it should be protected as such. First, we will need the unique identifier of the dataset. This can be found in the address bar. Before we set up our scheduled task, we will need to know the stream ID for the dataset we are running. We can retrieve that from the Java CLI. Once we're logged in, we can use the list dataset command. We can use the help function to see what options are available to us. We start with our command, indicate that we are using the ID as our criteria, and paste the dataset ID. This will show us the metadata of the dataset. We are looking for the stream ID. If the onboard import ID is populated, that can also be used. Let's see what dataset run now has to offer. First, we put in the command. Then we indicate that we're putting in an ID, our stream ID, and indicate that that is a stream ID. As we see the command execute, we know that we can go check on our dataset. We can see that our dataset has successfully updated. Now we need to schedule it to occur without manual intervention. We can do this by copying our commands into a notepad file. We'll want to save that with a name that tells us what it's doing, and then open our computer's task scheduler. It's best to schedule using a more robust scheduler, but I'm testing with my computer scheduler first. We'll create a task and name it. We'll want this to run whether or not the user is logged in. And we'll need to set triggers, which is basically the schedule. We can leave this as one time and maybe set the next half hour so that it runs on an even time. And we want this to repeat every, and then you'll set your schedule. I'm setting mine for 1 hour. And the duration is indefinite. And click OK. Next, we'll look at actions. And we can type Java in this program script area, but right now we'll browse to the appropriate Java file. And this will launch Java. It's this Java exe file right here. Now I'm going to paste in my argument, but I'll show you the content in our notebook file. The script portion of the argument will indicate the path and file name of your notepad. The name pasted here is a little different because I realized I needed to rename my file and not include spaces in the file name. So just make sure your file name matches and you don't have any spaces in your file name. Next, we want to run down some of the conditions. How you set these is really up to you, the settings as well. You will need admin rights to your computer in order to complete this scheduling. A few days later, I checked back in on our dataset, and I found that the updates from the automation had happened each hour for the rest of that day, And because I had set the token to expire in 1 day, it automatically stopped doing the manual updates due to the security constraints. I hope you found this video to be helpful. See you on the dojo.